Hey, what's going on, you guys? Hey, welcome back to another episode with iTrack. Hey, we are on the brink of World War III, and there seems to be a whole lot of ripple effects of that, so let's go ahead and take a look at it along with a lot of interesting clips. But before we do any of that, you already know, smash that like button for me, smash that subscribe button if you're not a part of the iTrack fam, and hit the hype button. Now let's get into it.
I have a friend, former CIA officer, and he says that a decision has been made to attack Iran on Monday or Tuesday.
That was a former CIA officer who is now a whistleblower and exposes that Trump is planning on attacking Iran, potentially marking the beginning of World War III. This isn't the first time this whistleblower has exposed something. And if you have been paying attention, you know this whistleblower has exposed Trump and his other plans many of times.
Leader of one of Mexico's biggest cartels has been killed in a military operation, but unfortunately this might not be a good thing. Because people who live in Mexico are saying now that he's gone, all of the other smaller cartels are allegedly fighting for power because they all want to take his position. And based on all the footage that's going around, it's making the streets very unsafe for civilians. Attacks have been breaking out in Puerto Vallarta, which is supposed to be a beach vacation place, as cartel members are allegedly setting grocery stores on fire and kidnapping people in the streets in broad daylight.
It's the cartel. What the f is this? That?
Hey, tensions have definitely been bubbling in Mexico, and it seems like it's finally come to a head. So definitely sending prayers out to all the innocent folk involved.
Cartels are now saying major threats to forcibly enter homes and hotels at 5 p.m. if their demands are not met, prompting heightened security concerns.
The cartels in Mexico are destroying everything, targeting civilians, government, police. There's actually them right behind me, more equipped it seems than the actual military. We'll go over why this could be in a minute. I'm really feeling like the United States is going to invade Mexico because of this problem. The craziest part coming in 1 second. So Mexico, possibly with the help of US, took out El Huncho, the cartel leader, and they are blowing up every vehicle they see, blowing up gas stations. Police are right up in the crossfire. They don't care. Civilians, they said, stay in your house or it's gonna go down. So everybody is being threatened. This is the military in Mexico. Not showing anything graphic in this video. So the even crazier part, obviously hotels and airports and hospitals are not safe, but the cartel put out a demand letter saying if they don't get whatever their demands were by 5 p.m., it's gonna get bad. I mean, it's already bad, though. So what could they really mean by that? They're blowing up buses, cars. I mean, really, they're rolling up on all these random people, these civilians' cars and whatever, and they're lighting it with gasoline. I mean, it's absolutely insane.
This is the drone mothership.
This is the drone
mothership that China's created. So this is an enormous ship that can send thousands of drones. Time to learn Mandarin, I think.
Wow,
John Cena was right. Look at that. 25 meters wide. Wow. That's wild. That's big.
Yeah. I mean, it feels like
it's a quarter of a football field.
I don't know. So it's war is changing, isn't
it? One of the worst spells that you can deal with is that from the Caribbean. See, Caribbean people, when they do work, they usually go for the long run. See, America, one thing I realize about a lot of people here, they do things and they just brush it off. Nah, Jamaicans, them Haitians, I mean, listen, I'm gonna tell you this. Those people will sit on you for years. They'll squat on you for years because in their mind, 6 months, 2 days, a week is not good enough. You know what I'm saying? They want to see every inch of your life taken from you.
What if selling your soul isn't exactly what everybody says it is? What if it's a contract on your life? What if there's a way, and you can see it in the movies, what if there's a way to remove your soul from your body and have another soul enter your body and take control of it? Everybody thinks people are getting cloned, and maybe they are. Or maybe they're the same person with someone else behind the steering wheel. You get that contract and they say, all right, here you go. We're going to sign you. You got 2 years to go ahead and live it up. We're going to give you all. That's why when you see them, when they blow up, they get all the big deals. Like, it's not everybody. It's just people who take it to that level. And then they're like, you got 2 years. And then they're like, all right, boom. There's a celebrity, somebody else who's about to die. Their soul can leave that body and take over your body. And you go into their body and you die. And the point is, these people could live forever. They just keep getting a new body over and over and over. And they're sorcerers in this perspective, but they've also been learning. If there is sorcery to learn, they've been learning it for thousands of years. Like, it's the same president every four times. Like, there's 4 presidents. They're just a new soul. New body with the same soul. Or it's the same president every time. It's like literally like that. And that's how they control the world.
Now, I personally think it's a bit of both. They're definitely cloning. At the same time, what he's speaking on is exactly what they say Jeffrey Epstein was doing. So it's a little bit of both going on out here.
Want to see the world through a different lens? Check this out. This is what it looks like from far away. And this is what it looks like up close.
You didn't know that? Part 1. Your fingernails have the same ingredients as fly poo. Pope Francis has never used the internet. 4 out of 5 people sing in a car. The USPS is a year older than the United States.
Okay, wait for it. Oh, here it comes. This was the first public appearance of the Iron Robot at a shopping mall in southern China. After demonstrating its lifelike walking gait, it looks like it lost its balance as soon as it raised its arm, and then was quickly carried away before returning later for photo ops. Iron is the same robot that went viral recently for being cut open on stage to prove to people online that it wasn't just a person in a suit. Despite the public incident, EV maker XPeng maintains that they will begin mass production this year, and even released additional footage to show off the robot's 3D printed muscle system. The lattice design absorbs shocks and smoothly releases energy, which is what allows the movement of the robot to be so fluid compared to the more rigid steps that you see from other robots. It's a really interesting design, but needs a little bit more time to develop.
Yep, so in the next 6 months to a year, there definitely will be humanoid robots just walking up and down the street. In fact, they're already implementing this in San Francisco, so just to see how people react to it. So things are speeding up quickly.
Found a loophole that let him own the moon, and he's made a fortune from it. After the peak of the space race, the United Nations released the Outer Space Treaty, which said no country could claim the moon. But in 1980 came Dennis Hope, an unemployed man who had big dreams. He wrote a letter to the UN, the US government, and the Soviet Union, declaring ownership of the moon with a polite note saying, if you have a problem with this, please reply. They never responded, and Dennis took their silence as okay. The treaty said no country could claim the moon, but didn't say anything about individuals. So in his mind, the moon was now his. And apparently, a lot of people agree. He founded the Lunar Embassy and started selling plots of moonland. He has since sold over 600 million acres to millions of different people, including 3 former US presidents, and has made over $12 million.
If that doesn't scream industry plant, I have no clue what does.
So Elon has made the official announcement today in regards to the release of the Cybercab. He stated it will be released before the end of 2026. You'll be able to pre-order it before then, and it will cost $26,000. Now, this is absolutely beautiful as an investment. This thing will sit in your driveway, charge. While you're sleeping, it'll make you money. While you're working, it'll make you money. While you're chilling, it'll make you money. This thing is beautiful. Now, investing all your money in a 401k, you get tiny increments. And if you have an emergency, you need to take it out, you get penalized. With this, you won't. And let me tell you something. I already talked to State Farm. For me personally, everybody's going to be different. But when you add a second or third vehicle, and the Cybercab is one of them, they will insure it for around $140 a month. And that is not bad at all, honestly, because this thing will probably make you a minimum of $100 a day. Now, Elon is talking about this is a big deal for a lot of people, because you could start your own fleet of taxi services. If you buy 5 or 10 of them, or if a taxi company buys 5 or 10 of them, it is absolutely beautiful as an investment, especially for the long term, because this thing will make you a ton of money. This thing is ingenious and it looks cool. Who wouldn't want to ride in that thing?
I don't know. I have a suspicious hunch that the market's going to get overly saturated, like fast.
Bankruptcy at this point because of Uber.
Last year, Olson made $76,000.
My income is reduced by about 50%.
This year, he says he'll make half that. He and dozens of other rideshare drivers went offline Thursday, not driving in protest of earning 65 cents per mile and receiving no benefits.
He made about $76,000 last year. He should have saved that, because when this robo-taxi comes out, we could have bought like 1 or 2 of them and then been straight and then just transitioned again. A lot of rideshare operators are definitely going to get caught off guard.
This is a substance called cyclohexane. Scientists have gotten it to a certain temperature and pressure that it is melting, it's boiling, and it's freezing all at the same time. This is called the triple point, when all 3 phases are at equilibrium.
Scientists just had a 20-minute conversation with a whale using AI, and the whale actually just talked back. Dude, this is obviously about to sound fake right now, but this is completely real. So a team of researchers from UC Davis and the SETI Institute, which by the way is the same exact people who search for alien life, just dropped an underwater speaker off of the coast of Alaska. They played a recorded humpback whale contact call into the ocean, and a whale that they named Twain swam up to their boat and started responding. They're saying that for 20 straight minutes, Twain circled the boat and matched every single call that they played, timing her responses to the exact intervals between each signal. They say that she wasn't just making noises to respond back, she was actually matching the rhythm of the conversation. The lead researcher on this entire thing right now just said that this is the first official exchange between humans and humpback whales in the humpback's own language. Okay. And by the way, the reason why SETI is involved right now is because they're using whale communication to build intelligence filters, which is basically going to be training AI to recognize intelligent conversations so that if we ever pick up a signal from space, we'll know if something is actually trying to talk to us. We literally just talked to a whale.
I mean, you had to know that was coming with all the technology that's going on right now, but I think that they've been communicating with whales and dolphins.
Right now, there is a public live stream of a fully autonomous AI system producing 100 research papers with 0 human help. A single research paper like this would cost up to $165,000, require a human team of 2 to 4 people, and 3 to 5 months to create. Whereas this system is taking hours. This is a public experiment run by the company Analemma. So here is what's actually happening. The AI reads the literature, finds the gaps, forms a hypothesis, designs the entire experiment, writes the code, tests the code, writes the paper, and publishes it. 24/7 without humans. The papers are showing up in GitHub in real time, and you can view them here. From what we've seen so far, the structure looks solid. The experiments are systematic. For example, in this paper, it's testing a simple defense against malicious prompt injections. Now, here's why it matters to you. If you're a researcher, student, or engineer, the cost of testing an idea just drops significantly. Imagine applying this to drug delivery, legal review, financial analysis, basically entire industries where research was a bottleneck. I'll report back next week with the first batch of results. Once it hits 100 papers, it's going to stop. If you want to check out the live stream yourself, you can go here or link is in the comments.
LASIK eye surgery may be a thing of the past because a brand new laser-free vision correction technique uses electrical current to reshape your eye. And I want to clarify, a very low electrical current. And this new technology is not only safer than LASIK, but it has better outcomes for your overall vision and maybe even cheaper. It's a very, very impressive piece of technology. But what they're doing is they are using a mild electric current and a temporary pH shift in your eye to use the collagen that you already have to fit your eyes over a 3D printed lens and bend the cornea in that shape. Which
because you need to understand there's a world of difference between United States and America as a country. In 1870s, 1878 to be exact, there was a privately owned corporation incorporated called United States Corporation. And it was stipulated in the corporation papers that anyone who would work for that particular corporation would be called a citizen, not an employee. It's a privately owned corporation. It was referred to as United States. So today, if you're conducting business in this country and someone asks you if you're a citizen of the United States, and you say yes, because you perceive the question is, are you lawfully in this country to do business? And you say yes. They didn't ask you if you were a citizen of America. They didn't ask you if you were lawfully in America. According to international maritime admiralty law, they ask you a question. Are you, of your own volition, out of your own mouth, testifying that you are a citizen of the United States? The United States is a privately owned corporation. It's a privately owned company. And if you say, yes, I am a United States citizen, now that makes you an employee of a privately owned foreign corporation.
I said, do you have religion? And they said, religion? Isn't that something that's created by man? Do we have faith? Yes, we have faith. Do we believe that there is that which you call God? We accept that based on our science. It's no longer a faith-based idea that there is a creator, that which you call God. That truly is. Do you believe in life after death? Yes, they do. They even have means to communicate with their loved ones. It's not some parlor trick. They really have the means to do it. But there are forbidden questions that you can't ask about what happens after death. Otherwise, you ask that, you're cut off immediately.
So I think there are lots of interesting discoveries, biological, on Earth, and other discoveries in the heavens that those of you who are younger will get to see unfold. You'll have all kind of problems with them, but on balance, it'll be a plus. And it'll make life much more interesting.
With the recent release of Pentagon footage of unidentified aerial phenomena, and things like Project Blue Book and ATIP and all of these various things, in your former position and currently with the current information that's released, what's your viewpoint on what these objects that seem to defy all laws of physics are?
That's a legitimate question now. And the short answer, but not the most meaningful one, is I don't know about this. But when I was president and I had a chief of staff, John Podesta, who loved science fiction, we made every attempt to find out everything about Roswell. And we also sent people to Area 51 to make sure there were no aliens in a deep, because Area 51 is very important.
Who do you send to Area 51?
Oh, if I told you that. No, actually, I sent my Sandy Berger, who passed away sadly a couple of years ago, who was my national security advisor. But I said, we got to find out how we're going to deal with this, because that's where we do a lot of our invisibility research in terms of technology. Like, how do we fly airplanes that aren't picked up by radar and all that? So that's why they're so secretive. But there's no aliens, as I know. On the other hand, Hillary and I went to Hawaii in 2018, to the Big Island, where all the telescopes are on top of the mountain, you know, including the Keck telescope, the largest in the world. And several countries have scientific teams there. So after we toured the telescope, we went down and met with them. And I said, do you guys argue about the likelihood of life in outer space? He said, we have huge arguments. I said, you do? He said, oh, huge. I said, what's the range? He said, there are those of us who think it's 85% likely, and those of us who think it's 95%. He said, these are people who spend their lives doing this. He said, we think, in other words, it's very unlikely that there is not life. There are a billion, not a billion planets, a billion solar-like systems. There are lots of mysteries out there. which is why I think we should take good care of this planet. I think we ought to kind of hang on to it if we can. And, and I think, but I also think it should keep us humble. There's a lot of stuff we don't know.
So Barack's the only one that's going to come out and just say it, huh? Clinton was very tight-lipped right there.
This man started to cry once he realized what he brought home into his fish tank. He started taunting it at first, tapping the glass, thinking it was just a weird fish he picked up. But the moment it began slamming itself into the tank, he knew he fucked up. It was swimming around confused. It wasn't darting randomly. It kept launching at the glass directly where he was standing, over and over, like it could see him, like it understood him. You could literally see the switch up on his face. The jokes stop. His voice changes. He backs away and then starts to cry. After the video spread online, people weren't just saying that it was an aggressive fish. A lot of viewers were convinced that it was a skinwalker, waiting to get inside someone's home. He might have brought something into the house that was never meant to even be in the tank. What do you think?
And it didn't help that the water was all red, like he had the red lights and stuff like that. Nah.
Sam Altman just predicted what humans will do when nobody needs to work. At the recent AI Impact Summit, one of the most important AI events of the year, Sam Altman just delivered one of the most powerful speeches we've heard on AI. So if you've ever wondered what the point of your career is in the age of AI, this speech might be the most important thing you hear all year. So Sam Altman made a prediction that sort of sounds like science fiction. He said that the people 500 years from now will look at us like impossibly rich people playing games, trying to find ways to pass their time. Think about that for a second. The same way someone from the 1500s would look at us today and see unimaginable abundance. Electricity, healthcare, smartphones, internet. Someone from the year 2500 will look at us and wonder why we were grinding 60-hour weeks just to be able to afford rent, and they will consider that primitive. Every generation inherits technology from the last and adds their own layer to it. Think of the printing press, and then electricity, and then the internet, and then smartphones. Each layer compounded on the one before. AI is the next layer. The only difference between AI and the last layer is that AI doesn't just augment capability, but completely replaces it. Let me explain. In every previous wave of technological innovation, humans have always ended up the most intelligent species. So obviously, we were smarter than a printing press. We were smarter than electricity, and we were smarter than the internet. But with AI is smarter than us. And Sam Altman was pretty blunt about what that meant. He said it will be very hard to outwork a GPU. So Sam Altman believes that we will need to find new things to do. This has always been true every time, but this time he said something critical. Society needs time to learn how to integrate each new level of AI to understand it and decide how to move forward. So our next destination is a world of abundance, where work might completely be optional. And the point he makes, and this is the most important point of it all, is whether or not we build a bridge carefully enough that people can make it across.
Morbid Facts, Part 907. In December of 1988, Hollywood cameraman Bob Samuels, whose credits included Short Circuit, The Color Purple, and Beverly Hills Cop 2, was found shot to death in his Northridge home, killed through a pillow used as a crude silencer. Investigators later accused his estranged wife, Mary Ellen Samuels, of arranging the murder to collect a $500,000 life insurance payout. Afterwards, she was said to have spent lavishly, including a Cancun trip where photos surfaced of her posing nude with large amounts of cash. Prosecutors also alleged that when the hired gunman began cooperating with authorities, she arranged for him to be strangled before he could testify. She was ultimately convicted for her role in the conspiracy and sentenced to life in prison. In August of 1993, 6 Kazakhstani hikers died during a trek through Siberia's Kamar-Daban mountain range. The only survivor later told investigators that members of the group suddenly began screaming, bleeding from their eyes and ears, foaming at the mouth, and clawing at their throats before collapsing one by one on the mountainside. Official reports ultimately ruled most of the deaths as hypothermia, with the group leader reportedly dying from a heart attack. But the survivors' description of the final moments has kept the incident controversial, with theories ranging from altitude sickness and poisoning to extreme weather exposure.
Satanic priest sold his soul to the devil and last year became canonized as a saint. But why did the church decide to canonize a man who sold his soul to the devil? His name was Bartolo Longo, and he was born in one of the most problematic eras that the church had ever seen. Luckily, he was born into a devout Christian family, but unfortunately, his father died at a very early age. And this just kind of left Bartolo with a lot of questions as to why God would even allow this. And on top of his questions, outside of his home, Bartolo would see political upheavals. His professors would often be former priests who were now against the church. And there was this growing interest in the occult. Eventually, Bartolo started to take part in these seances, then turned into bigger rituals. And soon enough, Bartolo found himself as the head of a satanic order. He was a satanic priest. And while Bartolo was having this life as a satanic priest, he was also going to study law. Now, Bartolo, ever since his father died, he kind of struggled with mental illness. And he had so many questions about God, and he had this belief that God had to be evil because a good God wouldn't let his father die at a young age, not if he truly loved his children. But on top of that, being a satanic priest didn't help his mental state whatsoever. And one afternoon, Bartolo was in the halls of the school, just kind of moping around and very deep in thought, when suddenly one of his professors spots him from way down the hall. So he's slowly approaching Bartolo and he gives him a tap on the shoulder, and this absolutely startles Bartolo. He just jumps in his skin, he's looking back. He was completely paranoid. And this professor really starts digging into him for all of his mental issues and what was going on, and eventually he ended up sending him to another professor, which was coincidentally a friar. Now this would start a 3-week long intense debate, where by the end of those 3 weeks, Bartolo had been completely converted to Christianity, more specifically with the Catholic Church. And it all started for him with the rosary. He would pray this and he would start getting signs that what he was doing was the right thing. His life suddenly started to get better. His mental was no longer plagued by all these negative things. He started to feel like he was actually healing. And for the rest of his life, he was so committed to the rosary that he actually brought 180,000 people to the faith through the rosary, making him one of the most successful evangelists of his time. And in October of 2025, he was officially canonized as a saint.
Seems like he went through the kind of journey only few can handle.
In recent months, alarming footage has been appearing online more and more often. Humanoid robots moving in formation, training grounds, automated combat scenarios. Formally, these are demonstrations of robotics capabilities and simulations for scientific research. But an increasing number of analysts say that China is entering a new phase of militarizing AI and humanoid platforms. Officially, Beijing states that humanoid robots are being developed for industry, logistics, and the civilian sector. However, behind the scenes, something else is happening. Chinese military research centers are actively investing in intelligent ground platform projects, robots capable of operating within units, conducting reconnaissance, accompanying soldiers, and working in dangerous zones. And here it is important to note, this is not about replacing the army with robot soldiers, but about creating hybrid units where machines enhance the capabilities of human fighters. According to open sources, China has been developing the concept of a smart battlefield for several years. This is a system in which AI analyzes the situation in real time using data from drones, satellites, ground sensors, and robots. Based on this, algorithms suggest optimal decisions to commanders. Within such an architecture, humanoid robots are viewed as mobile nodes, carriers of sensors, manipulators, and communication systems. They are trained to move across difficult terrain and operate in conditions of smoke, debris, and urban environments. The footage currently spreading online under headlines about the first units of a humanoid army is in fact demonstrations of laboratory prototypes and field tests. However, insiders in the robotics industry claim that some of these projects are funded through related defense programs. Formally, they are classified as dual-use, technologies for rescue teams, facility security, and work in emergency zones. But the same navigation, coordination, and control algorithms are applicable in military scenarios. The key technology here is not the robots themselves, but the centralized AI control loop. China is actively developing swarm control systems for drones and autonomous platforms, And the same approach is being scaled to ground robots. In the future, AI does not command the army, but acts as a super analyst, forecasting risks, distributing tasks between robots and humans, optimizing logistics and evacuation. This makes military structures faster and more resilient to battlefield chaos. A separate topic is preparing soldiers to interact with machines. China is already running large-scale programs to train military personnel to work with robotic platforms.
Could you imagine with robots on the front line? A war could go on literally forever. Well, you guys, that's another one in the books, man. I appreciate you guys for always stopping by, watching and learning with me. If you haven't already, make sure to smash that like button, hit the hype button, and hit the subscribe button if you're not a part of the iTrack fam, man. We are trying to go up this year, so definitely join the fam, and I will definitely catch you on the next one.